most businesses either automate the wrong things or do not automate anything at all. Here's how you should be doing things. Every business has the three main stages of the client lifecycle. And in these three stages, there are things you should automate and things you absolutely should not automate. If you get this wrong, you kill trust. But if you get this right, you buy back hours of your sales process, automating the mundane tasks and saving you money and time. Before we hop in the nitty details, a little bit about myself. I'm Carlos from Latvia, based here locally, and I've been running my agency for about 2 years now, automating for businesses and making automations for both agencies, small businesses, professionals, whatever it takes. And these are kind of the learnings I've got, and I can share with you on things that you should automate and things that you absolutely should not automate. So let's just jump into it. So here I have a basic client lifecycle flow. Every business has this. Everything starts with finding and closing deals. This could be both applicable to agencies. I'm going to be looking at more of an agency perspective this video, but it is applicable to every business. You got to find leads, you got to reach out to them, and then you have to close them and make them purchase. There's a lot of systems in this kind of bucket here that you could automate and probably that you should not. And the same follows for the upcoming stages as well. There's of course the delivery of the product. After you close the deal, you have to make sure you can actually deliver the service or deal you kind of pitched. And the last thing, it's nurturing and kind of keeping a customer for long term. This is mainly to kind of increase the average customer value, so your business is just thriving and not surviving. Because if you're always relying on new business instead of leveraging old business, and instead of finding ways to improve the customer value of your existing or past clients, you're gonna have problems long term, definitely. So here are the things that I should automate. A big rule of thumb: automate the repetitive logistics, but always do not automate the high stakes, high leverage points in your business. And let's go through some examples for each stage. So what you should be automating in finding and closing clients. You should be automating finding leads. You don't want to have your employees or you yourself looking at Google Maps and looking at listings and copy pasting phone numbers into a Google Sheet. You can and should definitely automate this really mundane process. The same goes for forms and websites automations. For example, if you have a website that people fill out and then you have a manual task of going through the list of people that filled out, adding them to your CRM, don't do that. That's a lot of wasted hours on your day or your employee's day that should happen automatically. This kind of data transfer is something that you definitely should look out for something that is easy to automate. The next thing is just follow-ups and reminders. Once again, you have your CRM system built up. Maybe you have a kind of a system that tracks your clients' progress. You should have this automated where you have notifications or follow-ups go to your clients or to your employees so that no lead gets left behind and no employee forgets a task. So let's move on to what you should not be automating. Like I said, these are the high leverage tasks, really high kind of stakes tasks that you should not be automating ones. The first here being sales conversations. So when the client agrees to a discovery call, sales call, anything like that, do not automate this process. Obviously, do not try and create AI agents that can sell for you. This is the highest leverage point in the client acquisition, part of the business. A human will probably do it better than AI. AI is good at very specific and niche tasks. Some broad and overall tasks is really tough on him. He's probably going to make mistakes. And if your average customer value is worth $2,000-$3,000, that mistake can really cost you, and you would probably want to invest into human talent. The next part is proposal content for non-trivial deals. Automating proposals can be really powerful, but you do not want to automate it completely. It's smart to maybe throw up a draft from a discovery call transcript, right? But still, always have a human go into the proposal, look into it, especially if it's a high stakes deal. Once again, one of the highest leverage points of your business, if the prospect that wants to invest in you multiple figures into your business and he sees that your proposal has a mistake or a typo or something dumb, like AI just like misreading the situation, it's going to really put up a lot of friction in the business and maybe lose the big deal. Definitely do not automate this completely, maybe partially, right? But not completely. And the last thing is handling objections. So any kind of sales process has a lot of objections. Sometimes it does make sense for an e-com business. Maybe it's a customer support agent, right? If it's like a lot of customers that have like really common FAQs. But if you're having an agency, I'm kind of doing an agency mindset here, you don't want to have AI automate these, handle these objections. If something's unclear or something's maybe the client isn't happy with the price or he doesn't understand the process, you should definitely hop in yourself and try and explain the process to the prospect with the full clarity of the situation, because AI, once again, is really really good at niching down problems, but some broad perspective where he needs a lot of context, he really struggles with it as of now, as of today. Let's move on to delivering the product. Once again, you want to follow the same logic. Automate the repetitive logistics. Don't automate the high stakes human decisions. Same logic. Onboarding sequence. It's always going to be very, very similar. Probably you're going to have some fixed offers, 5 or 3, I don't know. And then a client comes on. You can add a CRM or project pipeline where you can kind of mark, hey, this individual needs the onboarding sequence. And then you should have this process automated. You should not have a person dedicated to just writing down these onboarding emails. Obviously, every client will need the same few first steps to get him started. We add him to all the access folders he would need, maybe send out a bit of a personalized message. Also, everything possible to automate. Maybe have a form you can send out to a client, a prospect, so you can fill out more information about the business. 99% of agencies need this, and you should not have a person reviewing the form as well. You should have somebody filled out the form and then have a structure, a system that takes this and helps the user, the person that actually is going to build out the offer or build out the service, to have the clear structure on every single project the same. Next is task creation and internal workflows. It kind of piggybacks on what I mentioned before. You want to have these things systemized, so the person that actually delivers the work or the system or sends the product out to your customer has a clear understanding of what's going on and what needs to be done. And you can definitely try and automate all these internal processes. So once the client fills out the onboarding form, somebody gets assigned to the task and automatically have few of the next tasks that need to be done right now created for them and sent notifications for them, so they know what's going on and what needs to be done. So no tasks gets left behind. And then lastly, status update for routine milestones. If your projects always have a similar structure and flow to them, same milestones and stuff, you should definitely have your project management system have certain stage markers that trigger specific workflows or messages to your clients, updating them on the status. Next up, things you should not automate in this delivery service product process. Actual core work quality. Once again, think about this. This is the highest leverage point in probably the whole thing right now to deliver quality work. If your agency delivers Facebook ads, you don't want to have this automated. You can, of course, have parts of it automated, so your AI, so your ad specialists have a easier way of delivering the product. But you definitely don't want to do the whole thing, make AI do the whole thing. You want to ensure the highest quality for the service you provide, so the clients come back or the clients are satisfied, because this, in the grand scheme of things, will be the most highest impact to your business. It's better to have few really high quality deliveries than deliver complete trash, complete shit to a bunch of people. Handling edge cases and fires, also very, very important for any business. There's always going to be some things that go wrong, edge cases, things that are unclear. Obviously, do not ever use AI to troubleshoot this. Even though AI technology has come really, really far, it's still really really common for it to make mistakes a lot of times. Everyone knows those memes. You type something, is like, oh, you're absolutely right, I made a mistake. Like, they always make mistakes with the highest confidence, so you don't want to rely on them any time there's any specific edge cases. AI is really good at very specific tasks that you have laid out for them before. You do not want to have them figure out creative solutions to problems. The last one is just important scope changes. Whenever a project has important scope changes, obviously another thing that you should not delegate to AI. Human needs to get in touch with the clients, get in touch with the customers and say, hey, something, incredible, like something important changed here, right? For e-commerce businesses, it might be different. For example, if something happens, pretty common might be, some package lost in traffic, or a delivery takes longer than usual. Yeah, obviously there can be some exceptions to this rule. You can press a button and have all the clients notified. But from an agency perspective, whenever a substantial change in scope happens, always, make sure that you spend the time to get in touch with clients and explain the situation clearly and ask any objections and everything. So last step in the client kind of life cycle is the nurturing stage of the relationship. Here you have already delivered the product. The client hopefully has been happy, maybe not, doesn't really matter much, because you need to have a systems in place and processes in place where you kind of nurture the customer, the client long term. Because even if you have a business that has maybe a one-time opportunity, maybe it doesn't have a lot of recurring cases where you could deliver the same product to the same customer, developing relationship with customers still is high value, as they can send you over referrals. Maybe they can suggest you with friends and family. If you have good relationships, eventually maybe you have a different offer that you could once again reactivate all customers. And if you don't have processes in place to kind of keep the relationship warm long term, you cannot capitalize on this unlimited kind of source of upsell, and you cannot expand the average customer value. And this long term really will kind of drive you in the ground, because you will have to always be on your feet finding and closing new clients while you still have a backlog of old clients you could be useful that already have a good impression of you. So things to automate, definitely check-in and reminders and light touch points. Obviously, if your CRM has a one marked for the client, always automate once a month, maybe once a half a month, a newsletter, a email, kind of just a free value, just so the person knows, remembers about you. Just random check-ins, some reminders. Maybe you have a little kind of lead magnet that just came out, boom, send it to all the email lists automatically. You have to have these systems in place. Does not really make sense for you to do this manually at all. Review and testimonial requests, also very key. Reviews and testimonials, that oftentimes, depending on your business, are really important. And a lot of people neglect this part of their business. They deliver the work, the client might be happy, they maybe ask, hey, can you leave a review? And he's like, not now, and then they forget about it. No, you should have a specific kind of sequence for every single client to ask a review, to ask feedback on the delivery. So you can first of all improve your business, and second of all use these testimonials to increase this finding and closing aspect. Another powerful reason why you should be nurturing your customers. And last thing, just renewal and upsell triggers. Like I mentioned before, hey, after a long time, you might have a situation where you have a new product or more, another offer that you could offer old clients. You need to have like triggers and automations to send out sequences to your email list whenever a new offer or opportunity arises for them. You don't want to, neglect your existing customers. Now let's touch on the things you should not automate. Once in a while, you definitely should just ring up the client, ring up the person, and have a real, authentic conversation about the business, about the stage. One thing is just sending automatic touch points and value, but if you can land and manage a personal touch with your clients, this is more of an agency perspective. From e-commerce, it won't work that well. But these relationships can be really powerful. Sometimes you can find information about the business that provides you opportunities that you did not know existed unless you would have, rang up the person. And you don't want this to be AI, obviously. Last thing, handling negative feedback. If you run into the case where somebody reaches out to you or leaves a negative feedback, you do not want to handle this with AI, especially from an agency perspective. Obviously, if it's a e-commerce perspective, it's a bit differently. Automating this can be making sense if you have a really big quantity of issues. If somebody leaves a bad review, obviously you can automate some process like sending them a discount code or something like that. But if it's a substantial issue, both if for an agency or for the e-commerce store, you should definitely have a system in place where you handle this negative feedback from a human that actually reads the thing and answers the person with the broad spectrum that human can handle, because the AI will always have predefined answers and will always sound similar, but human is the only one that can actually see the whole picture of the situation and handle it appropriately. And finally, custom upsell offers. Once in a while, definitely you should consider having custom offers to existing customers. Sometimes it's happened to me when you work on a specific problem for another client. You think back, hey, this customer BXYZ I had a few months back could really use this system, and you should definitely not automate this process because it's really impossible to automate. You cannot it's kind of impossible to automate, right? Because it's very case specific and it involves you knowing ins and outs of the business of your past clients for you to have these connections where you can offer custom solutions or upsells. It's something that AI basically won't be able to automate anytime soon. Because, like I said, they're good at specific tasks, but they're not good at understanding the broad picture. Anyways, so this is it for the video. Hope you found it useful. Of course, subscribe and like and everything like that. I have